Okay, so I'm saying people that watch my videos, you should watch till the end. I put a lot of effort in this one, and it's to give you as much as details. And I'm recording old school, as you can see the movement of the camera. So I hope you enjoy this. This sheds a little bit of proof. It's almost like a Zoom court. And I did another one similar to this that I may or may not have uploaded. You may not have seen it before this one. Enjoy. Usually because I'm getting close to, we all know things about research, proof. There's a lot of that in the world that has a lot of lies. So when I said that I felt a lot of calling, and some people are spiritual in the world and they're feeling the tipping scale, the tipping point, not the tipping scale. Yeah, it's reaching a heavier presence of just change and remembering. So this is just to give you an idea. When I say I had the experiences when I predicted things or I had dreams that came true, that's from when I was very young. All I want to say is I'm going to show you a little bit of this. This is over. So
I thought it was over an hour,
idea,
but it's been edited.
Conference. There's not many of these. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of doctors or researchers. He used to be
on the internet,
something in psychiatry. Then he became a researcher in parapsychology. And he evaluated, I'm going to give you a resume, but you can see it yourself. So you just punch in environmental sensitivity, a promising path for.
I'm going to advance it a bit. He does say it, actually.
I did most of my research was actually in environmental sensitivity. And I was looking at a lot of neurobiological correlates of ghostly experiences. And that was sort of what I spent most of my time over there doing. So I actually finished my research in 2008, and since then I moved away from the research psychology, and now I'm more into the clinical part of things. And so since leaving Edinburgh, I've been pretty much doing behavioral health consultations, psychiatric evaluations, and I work for a hospital up north called the Cleveland.
Didn't he just say psychiatric evaluations? And if this guy, you see the whole conference or whatever course.
Yeah, but they edited it, so they cut out some
he's going to
parts.
say he did in his 8 or 10 years that he did that, just never mind parapsychology, just evaluate people. He found that out of 5,000 people he did evaluate about an hour or 30 minutes or whatever, none of them, 0% had psychiatric problems. You see where if you saw another one now that shows a paper that finally I convinced the doctor that I was seeing at St. Mary's to make me a paper to prevent them from making me suffer when they do. See, I'm doing my own sort of like proof and debate, and I look at their point of view. Like if I see the papers now, it says, yeah, psychiatric problems. Yeah, but they made it out of their beep. Again, I want to censor myself a little. But of course, sometimes I'm angry and I would swear. Wouldn't you if you're tortured and falsely accused? But this is the whole world. Even when it comes to wars, we see kids being shot and we see that they change it around, even that. So how can I ever hope to get help? And I'm part Jewish, so, and I'm not claiming that I believe any war, anybody that raises a finger towards someone else or accuses them of something they cannot prove on 3D. They say I have no proof for them, or I should have made a complaint, this, that. So you see, I'm just recapping. But this is, you should see all of this. It's only 50 minutes and 13
but
seconds.
But it used to be more. They
only. Because they know soon the loving energy and the true identity of people, which is love is power, and power is compassion and forgiveness. Not false accusations coming out of your imagination, and I don't want to see the AS and then another one. That's a way of joking, but that's true also. They just make up anything to make a law, and it's not only for me. What's done to me is done in different, but it's just that it's so unique, the particular way of persecuting one person that is older, innocent, and has done nothing, not even rebellious on 3D. So that's why it looks so weird that people actually believe I'm imagining this. Not I don't know how many, but the vehicles and the police is impossible. And they don't even, I was looking at some of the papers yesterday because it's not because I'm for sure that I'm moving. I don't know. Again, I take it day by day. But I'm looking at the paperwork and I'm saying, wow, how much garbage they wrote about me. And I can't even take it to court. People say some people get arrested, even do something a little dramatic, just so they could contest and then go to court. But me, I can never go to court because I'm canceled. And this guy is saying Canada is supposed to protect and help people like me, the most in the planet. Check this out. I hope I get to that part.
I worked there for about 7 years. So, for the most part, over those 7 years,
Okay, 7.
I've been in the mental health field for about 15 years. I've done about, I think I'd average it out to about 5,000 psychological evaluations.
There you go, what I was saying.
I've met a lot of people. I've heard a lot of stories. And another guy who's pretty big in environmental sensitivity research is a guy by the name of Michael Jower.
Michael
He's the one
Jower.
that sort of started this thing back up. But what he found was he actually worked for the government in Virginia, and he would go in, and if there was people with sick building syndrome,
That's it, like me.
who were having effects from the environment that they were living in, he would do some.
Does that make you see my videos? I'm sick, oh, I'm bleeding, I can't breathe. That's sick building syndrome, but it affects everybody. It's just that people like me know that it's coming. Like a lot of people say, oh, it's a coincidence that person died, and they were doing a lot of exterminations when they. So this is what I mean. They always deflect and bamboozle you. People that die 2 hours after the vaccine, and I know a lot of people that told me they had those situations, and that's why they didn't take it. And they say, that's a coincidence. He already had some kind of health. He was allergic. Yeah, he's allergic to toxic products that are meant to kill. The government is there to destroy us, and if people don't see it, but they're pretending as if they don't, because if they do it actually like in the Roman times, actually kill the people they don't like or people that don't do enough slavery work. And see, the world then was such a different place, but it was the same agenda, deep. Now, here, it was almost like we really believed. I believed I was free until 6 years ago. Free, not completely like able to do what you want, but free at least in movement, in expression, in what happens to our body. No, we are not. And they're proving it to me every time they make me eat some kind of product, and they contaminate it, they inject me, they have all vehicles all around me. They're proving that I'm right. And this guy is proving that out of the research he did, nobody is crazy that has sensitivity, and no one, and almost three times, something like that, the percentage, like let's see, 1 out of 5, 1 out of 10 people has experiences in the paranormal. People sensitive like me, there's 3 times more chances, meaning 3 out of 10 instead of 1 out of 10. People like me have. So this is what I mean, something like that.
In that area. And what he found was there was a group of people who were really sensitive to environmental stimuli that was around them. And they were actually having physical reactions to the environment that was around them.
That's me, yeah.
They were getting sick.
I think I'm going to show you again what I meant. I'm going to show you the paper again. I hear sirens. Okay, so you see, this is the paper I got.
The proof. That's my
Montreal,
personal
June
proof.
21st,
It's
2013.
redacted.
Because they were doing exterminations. Obviously, I've been living here more than 12 years. Because this is
See,
about
signed.
12,
It's
13
the
years.
original paper signed.
So between 12 and 13.
It's a little
so look
faded.
at this. You could see my first name, obviously, I've said it before, my Italian version, and then I'm not leaving. I did once, and I think if you really investigate, you could find out but the point is, this meaning is people in authority know who I am just by leaving a partial, the chart number, even though you're not allowed unless you're the person or the treating doctor, you're not allowed seeing somebody's file. I don't know the technicality, but this, you just seen a little bit of a researcher and saying nobody, well, if you see it, you're going to see that everything I'm saying is the truth, because I'm not going to show 50 minutes. It would be boring for you, and if you're curious
It goes
enough,
over
then
50
you do
minutes,
the
this
investigation.
video.
So, I did another one that I showed this. So, look at what it says. This sort of involves the immune system. It's also the nervous system, but he just did it. As a result, the patient can be exquisitely sensitive to various chemical or biological particles, particularly those floating in the air, but also elsewhere in the environment. This sensitivity typically manifests itself by respiratory distress, but can also have various other symptoms. Yeah, like the nervous system. You can be anxious more than usual. And some people do need, I am admitting it, that at some points I did need some feedback and some follow-up. But when I did. And even for medication, when I needed it, I asked. And this is like 10 years ago, the closest. So now, 10 years is not like 10 days. It's a long time. I am not the same person even of 4 or 5 years ago when my torment from the police happened. And in fact, I'm not thanking the police because I'm trying to help myself get out of this. I've learned from what the police even physically tortures me. But they haven't learned that it's wrong what they're doing. See, everybody's learning from each other. It's all an interconnectedness that makes us evolve and learn. Even pain and suffering is a teacher. People think only good times proves that you when you have no conflict in your life that you're progressing. No, if you're not having any kind of block, like contestation, it's just like in politics when they have to pass a law, most of them criminal right now. That's how you know both sides. Conservatives, I have to admit, have tried to block a lot of those laws, C8, C9, C63. So I'm here to show you how calm I am, and it's just because I'm feeling less sick than yesterday. They did other things to me when I'm not going to get into it, but the one that got me very hyper, and yesterday for at least three hours I was worried that my character was going to stay in that energy. In the past it would have taken not 3 days, but at least 6 to 12 hours for me to get back into my normal state. But even then, this is not pre-pandemic, sort of close to the pandemic, meaning before I got in trouble with the police, I was that's like over 6 years ago. So I was not the same. Right now, I still react to the environment, but I have a bigger grip, obviously. Even doctors admit yoga helps. And it's not the regular stretch, hot yoga. That's it's the interior chakras, breathing, and just remembering your frequency, your awareness on a deeper level. So I'm trying to do a bit of everything. So this is part of the proof. Now let's go back to the...
But what he found was this group was also having a lot more paranormal experiences. So apparitional experiences.
Yeah, I'm going to repeat that part. Because I put the light...
that they were living in, he would do some tests in that area. And what he found was there was a group of people who were really sensitive to environmental stimuli that was around them. And they were actually having physical reactions to the environment that was around them. They were getting sick. They couldn't go to work.
Yeah, that's me.
What he found was this group was also having a lot more paranormal experiences.
That's where you go when I feel I'm intuitive.
Psychic experiences. And when I found, the fortunate thing about my job was if I go in the hospital and do an evaluation, I do know a little bit about the patient's history. And I was finding a lot of examples of patients with environmental illnesses, like migraines, fibromyalgia, idiopathic environmental illness.
I just showed you my paper.
Sensitivities to environment.
Do people see that I did this research like 20 years ago, but I only started seeing it on the internet and started living paranormal experiences that I recognize. And I have seen what? Statistics is the big teacher. I say that in another video I probably put 2 today on the 28th of November 2025. So I'm doing research because right now, if I don't do like a court, this is like a Zoom court for all to see on my channel, if they still allow it, because the laws are changing. Come December, they're changing, and like I said, there's a timing that soon I don't want to say it, but things could get worse for me physically. But my soul and my evolution will not stop. Doesn't matter what they do to me. They could torture me, make me die a slow death, which it looks like it right now. I'll be honest with you. I'm not feeling well. But let's say now that my blood pressure is not high, I can control my pain and what they're doing to me. A bit like Spock when he had that creature on his back. Remember when Spock... And that's a parasite, and that's what they do to me. They literally put parasites through my skin with injections from far. They actually contaminate food. They get people, and I see them, they're so nervous. You might say, oh my God, that looks like exactly what you would think somebody crazy. But that's exactly it. And people believe people that see aliens are crazy. People that have psychic powers or psychic experience. But why do you have a scientist researching paranormal experiences? And why don't they teach this in schools? One time I asked my history teacher, well, what's parapsychology? He goes, it's not even a psychology, it's half a psychology. It's stupidities. The doctrines of regular school, that's why you have researchers that try to get the funding as if it's something researching. Because like the CIA, they've researched for 25 years. They're not crazy. That they even admit this guy of the MK Ultra program from the Allen Memorial, he's saying, yeah, we want to make sure we have everything on our side. These witch doctors and the voodoo works. We've seen it work. It doesn't work if you don't believe in it. That's what the guy doesn't know. They found out other things, how to control people and how to brainwash people. Oh, they did a good job of that. But see, I don't even need to see their research, my dear friends. Voodoo does not work if someone does not believe in it. That's why do you think they took so much disinformation and they turned Jesus' teachings? They killed everybody that knew to teach what I'm teaching you now. 2,000, 3,000 years ago, because they made sure no one knows the truth. Just like now, everything you see about the vaccine and millions of other things. Hey, they don't tell you there's over 1,600 laws that will make it impossible for you to live off the grid. Why don't they say it? Because they look bad. Why do they say Bill 2? Because it concerns doctors, it's concerned, and doctors are the most privileged that work for the government. But they're complaining, but when it came to falsifying my records, when I pissed them off, when I didn't piss them off, they did like this letter a little bit, they showed some effort into protecting me. But Canada is supposed to be the best country to protect people with my health problem. It doesn't look like it worked for me. That means what they promote and what they talk about or what they flaunt in research and...
Because when I wasn't feeling well, I know the formula that got me deeper and deeper doo-doo. I know I'm redacting even the already thing that... See, I'm not filming at this point because I'm just showing you clips of things that are relevant, and I'm doing like a Zoom trial. I'm pretending I'm the other person. Even sometimes an officer say, you do a monologue. Obviously, if police always say, it doesn't concern, and they have no opinion, they don't answer questions. Even when I told them, they just said, it seemed like you wanted to insult us. I go, but what do you think following and torturing someone is? They don't answer. So just like the papers from that are signed by Fadi or directed to Fadi, it says, this guy, but he applied now. He should have applied in 2020. So it's too late. You only have a year time to complain. But it's ongoing every day. It's not a year yesterday, right? I got attacked yesterday, the day before, every day. So you see, if lies are that big, and they could just say, well, us doctors decided he's crazy. So anything he says, that's how it is to destroy someone's credibility. That they can't, because you do it. The first thing they did to me now is change my file. Just why I showed you a file about being sensitive to the environment, not being chemical imbalances in the brain. And it's like my neighbor, he always says, you have schizophrenia. I go, what do you mean? I never saw that on my... No, you do. Because they're there to show you like what they want. Oh, I have it. It doesn't bother me. Well, because I'm sorry if you have schizophrenia, but don't try. It's not a virus. You can't spread it. People just love to put their pain and inflict their pain and control on others. Doesn't matter what mental state they have. Of course, most people are narcissistic. Maybe not to the point of being out of control. Like sometimes narcissists will tend to say the truth and incriminate themselves. But the psychopathic, intelligent IQ narcissist psychopath is what's running the world, because it's the closest thing to demonic, satanic possession. I don't believe in demons necessarily. I believe in demonic energy, yes. That's what runs the world. That's what makes the world stable. Anyways, this is my, not food court. Yeah, and I see the little green pilot light for the police. So thank you, police, for listening. I hope you're learning. And okay, going back to the point why I interrupted this share, this court system, because I already recorded it, not to have to always be in inquiring mode. So what I'm trying to say is that it's the fact that my spiritual energy goes faster than the biology. That's why you have to spiritualize matter. It's the opposite of what people think. People think you have to make your body pristine, a beautiful life, a peaceful life, no stress, and then become spiritual. You have a chance to evolve. I thought that too. How wrong was I? That's how you could tell I'm honest. It's not that it's a criminal mistake. It's something that made me delay my spiritual evolution. So I was making my life more comfortable by force and distracted from my pain when I should have looked at my body pain and give it love and understanding. What is it trying to tell me when I have a reaction to that product? To those people. Why are those people attacking me? That's the biggest in the last 7, 8 years or 10 years. Let's say about 10 years. I've been seeing people are naturally triggered by me because I have natural confidence and buoyancy and energy. But then again, I still had, especially like 6, 7 years ago, I still had that emotional, reactionary, trauma-based reaction. So that makes me look either a bit arrogant, unstable, troublemaker. And of course, the government kept an eye on me after that. I challenged them and recorded. That was a spark. They say no one has the guts to call 911 and record them and have the guts to say, hey, I'm holding you account. That was the trick. I thought it was that officer. And in a way, he even wanted to affirm that he goes, it's me, when he stopped with the car during the municipal elections of 2021 or something, or 2022, something like that. The last municipal elections that were not these ones, the ones before, in the Montreal area. So what I'm saying is that's what I mean. It's terrible that I thought it was only that officer. But then again, how come I didn't write his name? I had his card. How come I didn't make a complaint? Not because I was scared, because I wanted to stop, because I knew it had spread like a virus to the whole system. Some bus drivers were saying, if you didn't take the vaccine, you're automatically checked by the government because you have to be a good little sheeple. So let's go back to this. I hope people understood what I meant. So in a way, I'm not trying to apologize. I'm trying to say, even when I pissed you off, my dear police, I totally want to find peace. In this particular case, you don't win and I don't win if we keep fighting. And I'm still considering moving. I'm just saying, giving it a small consideration. But if there's no guarantees my place won't be contaminated or I won't be attacked a few weeks after I move in, so the police knows that the neighbors won't know what's going on, and they won't be able to judge the police as having done something irrational. Because if people get to know me for a month or two, even for, let's say, 1 month, they will know if they come up with a court order or something, never mind a court order, no court order, they don't need it with the new bills. They just decide to take away my phone or ankle bracelet me in my apartment. They will think, oh, well, this guy deserved it. Like most people, all the police, you're imagining it. And if they do follow you, you've done something wrong. I thought that, police, and I still want to believe that generally you work like that. So now you know that the risk in your reputation and the risk to your karma is not equivalent at all compared to the pleasure you get out of making my life unbearable, right, Apopex? I'm sure everybody is smart enough to understand what I just said. It's a child would understand it of 10 years old. So why wouldn't you? Are you so compulsed and out of control with your anger management or your revenge management that you have to keep risking your reputation more than you already have? And your karma, I don't want to even go there. If you haven't seen it, it's because you're blind. Because I see it, and I'm not the one getting it. Well, I'm getting it from you, but anything that happens to me is not karma. It's all planned and staged.
That means what they promote and what they talk about or what they flaunt in research and respectability for, like, Canada's the most peaceful, free country. You could live in the wild. I showed a short on that. It didn't get a lot of views, but that was just a little part of what I want to teach people. I want to tell people the world is a big mystery. It's a big lie within a lie within a lie ad infinitum, not just like a couple of lies that they say here and there to make us follow. No, our whole belief system, our whole perception of reality. And in a way, it was meant to make us delay into returning into this flame. It's like saying you're playing a game that you're like, whatever, Cowboys and Indians, or you're playing doctor. You're playing doctor with your friends when you're 10 years old. Let's just say, I'm not saying... It's a game, and after a while you say, okay, well, now let's go eat, watch TV, or do something. But it's always, see, you watch TV, entertainment, it's always about deluding ourselves. So the physical world and our access to our brain is always about lies. So when government feeds us lies, and like the perennial thing called perennial something, it's like they say, no, don't ask questions. It's destiny. The government is supposed to control us. We've been brainwashed, even me. Follow the rules. But no, you're supposed to be there spiritually, not to submit, but to challenge the laws. Because if they don't reflect spiritual values, what's the point of living? We're going in a demonic world. But it's ending soon. I'm just explaining a little bit for me and a little bit for the next couple of years to not make people fall into hate and fall into fear. Hate, fear are the biggest things that we have to avoid. Worry, it's in the same ballgame. Not loving yourself, not being confident, and judging yourself when you do feel bad. I felt terribly bad yesterday, lost, insecure, but not a lot, just like the emotional part. But it because what was in my body. If I would have dwelled on that right now, I'd be, I don't know, I don't know. But like, okay, I'm exaggerating, but like I was doing, look, an ambulance almost ran me over. It's like if you dwell in what hurts you physically or what tries to scare and challenge your fight or flight, that's why the world works this way. That's why people obey, and don't question. If we don't question, we're gonna become like Neanderthal man. This guy questions. He's a pioneer, but he's still in the system. That's what I love, people that crawl out of the system naturally. He talks like a teacher. He's a bit like, not boring, but he's a bit like logical. People here, they're treating this like as if it's not normal to be sensitive to the environment and to have these powers. That's why, but they're still curious to improve. When people are spiritual, they understand about sensitivity naturally, because to develop your abilities to remember your frequencies and your chakras and making your energy from your chakra awaken, purify, you have to follow your inner guidance. Everybody evolves in a different way. You're all unique. You all have a different genetic code. I saw it with CRISPR. I made people touch papers that give me bruises. Even me, I was saying, am I really psychologically scared? And then I saw a bruise appear on my hand. And even if I did it myself, imagine the psychic powers I have. This is what people don't understand. That our mind is strong, but also the environment affects us more than our mind, because we live on 3D. So whatever you could do a little bit psychically to influence the environment, like Sadhguru says, oh, I could make you walk on water after 10 years, but is it worth the energy it takes? You know, you can take a boat. He goes, you don't ask, is it possible to levitate? Sadhguru answers, yes, it is possible, but under extreme conditions, and I've never seen it really happen, but that's the whole point. Believing without being there is normal, just like quantum physics. You can't see that on 3D, what you see in the experience. So we're still under the doctrine of psychic powers, aliens, but then again, CIA does that research. CERN, some people were concerned that were working at CERN that they saw entities, that they have stargates, things like that. I don't know, because for me, it doesn't matter who has a bigger bomb, who researches reality. We have access to everything, and that's why they keep us always unstable with basic food and shelter and threat of Armageddon, threat of war, threat of viruses,
Torture.
They want us to focus on the beautiful flowing energy that we are. We're not this stupid body. Does anybody think that I would be talking like this if I really was just the physical part of me now? Hey, they totally won. How could they not win? They're the police, the big company, neighbors with connection to the police. So it's everybody has an advantage over me. And they think in their little childish mind that they win. They could win destroying me. That's how you know I'm not delusional. But they can't avoid getting the cost. Just like a Ferrari, it costs. Even for rich people, it's a pain to take care of it. Because that's what it is. On 3D, you have to pay for things that you want to control. That's why they say the slave system, the sex trade, the drugs, whatever you want, well, whether it's legal drugs, the medical system and big pharma and things like that, or it's the illegal drugs, they both make a lot of money. So that people don't get it, that it's all about materialism, money, and lying. That's the world, that's what it runs at. If we don't realize that, then we're naive. So let's continue.
I found when I was talking to these types of patients, I found, much like Jao, they were having a lot more paranormal experiences than the average person. And that's a pretty important part, and it's kind of what interests me most about this. So let's kind of get into what environmental sensitivity is. I'll spend about 10 or 11 slides talking about what it is, and then we'll get into a little bit more about sort of what parapsychology.
Okay, let's go to the conclusions now.
I think the first step is just making sure that this is actually happening. So we categorize appropriately.
Look at this. This is an important question, too.
Seeing these things, and then we kind of go into a little bit more about why.
Okay, at the end, they edit at least, I think it was over an hour, they edit at least 10 minutes, they cut out. But the most important parts, he goes, when I started this, I started thinking that people were having reactions to the environment and hallucinating the psychedelic or the conclusions about apparitions, because we can't prove apparitions. We've never caught one like Ghostbusters. That's why they distract us with movies that exaggerate the science fiction part, the creative. They mix intuition and psychic experiences with fantasy. They're not the same. Like this lady, I forgot her name, she says, fantasy doesn't give you support. She goes, but intuition does. It makes you feel uncomfortable, but eventually it gives you like a power inside your gut. Boy, do I know. So this is what I mean. They edited this. So this is how you know the internet is being edited, because he says, and I'm a witness that at the end, I said it's not the same thing, the last part. He says, original Brandon said, oh, I think these people are hallucinating some of the reactions to the environment. He goes, now, after 10 years of research and evaluations in psychiatry, I find that he does say that they're very stable people. You're going to hear him say that. But he goes further on to saying, they taught me. And he actually says that too. But he says something else. He goes, I changed my mind. I don't know, but they edited a lot of stuff. I don't know if it's the actual doctor, because he's a doctor, a researcher, and stuff like that. Let's go into. All I know is that I think it's got shortened. It was, anyways. I think.
The other thing the model implies to me is that modernity is more paranormal than pre-modernity, because we're just swimming.
This is just nonsense. If you know, it's hard to understand.
People that have status, because all you know is, oh my God, you feel a bad emotion, you got to give it back to the person threefold. But I tell you, when you hurt me and you get away with it physically, you suffer exponentially, karmically, threefold, tenfold, who knows? Like I said, I've done statistical evidence, not of psychic things, but of the karma, which here he doesn't talk about karma. I'm beyond what you see research. I'm giving you information.
I'll give you a clear example. All you have to do is see the news from the last 6 months to a year. I don't know the exact star date. I'm just joking around, but telling truth. Sometime in 2024, the police came over and slammed me to the floor. Not that hard, but enough to bruise my ribs for months that I was at least in pain when I slept. Not enough to need medical treatment at the hospital, not enough to, but they did note it that I was not, my knees and things like, so they know it's procedure, police does that. But that's for someone who resists arrest. That's for a warrant. Mine was not criminal. It was just to make sure I would follow them to the hospital, which I was willing to do. So that's a crime. I can't report that. Who am I going to report that with? Oh, it's too late now. It's 2026 soon. So that will happen in 2020. They're always going to come up with something. But did I try? No, that's a sign of good. I'd need a get out of jail free card. I'd need at least a week without being tortured, because you think that you have the right to torture me and, of course, blame my mental health. So that's a crime on top of a crime on top of a crime. Getting back to the basics, I've said it before, but not slowly. Do you think it's a message, it's a coincidence, or it's a message from the divine that you got caught filmed in a sort of, I don't know if it was a laneway, it looked like a balcony in the back of houses, triplexes or something like that, bungalow. I don't know. No, it was not a bungalow. You know, when you have the metal stairs, I think it was something like that. And they got filmed being rough with someone and killing him. Now, Montreal police, I didn't see any of those things on TV 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. Ever. Tell me someone if you saw that. And how come it happened recent? I'm not trying to scare you that, oh, you can't touch me, can't touch this. But technically, yeah, maybe you should think that an innocent person that asked you for help, that may have triggered you the way they asked for help, because it goes against the system to dare record 911. They could record us even now in the moment that I'm doing this video privately in my own apartment, which is no more freedom. They could spy on me, but I can't record a call that I'm trying to prove to people that they're ignoring my health crisis related to pesticides, which, as you see from the research, they should legally help me, but they don't. What you see in the paper now that they sort of do, or they had it 10 years ago about in 2013. But how come now they stopped? Because they got offended. And I know it's partially my fault that I wasn't careful to how sensitive you were. I'm sorry. See, how many times do I have to say I'm sorry? Do I need to be punished to this extreme level, police? And do you realize the crime you're doing, punishing me illegally that much, even if you could get away with it or not? That's irrelevant to my point now. But it is relevant to your health, the health of your kids, future generations, the planet ending by 2032. If this kind of thing you're doing to me, police, Apopex, goes on, by 2032, instead of being at a utopia, the world, it could be nuclearly destroyed. How many people go in Antarctica or whatever big bunkers they have? Not many will fit there, not many than a few thousand. And it won't last 100 years. Any bunker won't last 100 years without a glitch. So I'm back at the recording. Sorry for that, but this is what I mean. I'm trying to find a compromise. Again, I hope that's the reason Apopex kind of pushed the HLM to find me a place. And it's also the right timing now. But I hope it's because I took down my channel. I hope it's out of good faith. But if I got tortured in my apartment and there was a guy working for Apopex yesterday that I saw him in the hallways, probably it's him because it's not an official that put that gas. So if you do things like that, or it's the police that you let in, it's either way. It doesn't show me that you guys took that as me trying to compromise and show some respect. I could see you could punish me. It's almost 13, 15 years. Apopex, you're showing me you could make me suffer. And it's not a life, technically, in the way people see life. In my soul and in my spiritual progress, it has gotten better. Despite that, my life has got horrifically torturous persecution. The police is adding to that. So this is what I mean. Am I supposed to think that when I move, even though I know I'm going to move, and it's going to be more horrific or more jailing or more some kind of punishment, because that's all the police knows to do. They can't admit, we follow and torture you, so you're going to go with doubling down, police? Is it worth the risk? I just gave you that evidence of circumstantial evidence that you got a bad karma after you slammed me to the floor. So are you going to keep doing things like that? Whether you do them secretly or not, or whether you say I'm just following orders, it's still a crime. Some people try to work around that. No, it's the intent is the crime, not the actual physical action. It's like if somebody's trying to hurt you and you instinctually defend yourself, even though by law you're not allowed, it should be exempted. And even the person got out of jail. But imagine going to jail to protect yourself when someone attacks you. Just like me, somebody said something or the other. I always have to avoid conflict, not only because it's not right, but also because I will get punished. If the person is out of control and they hit me, it's almost like saying, I hit someone with the car. You get in trouble, even if you didn't do it on purpose, because the system is based on punishment and intimidation, not to see the cause, the truth behind whatever happens physically. That's extreme. So this is what I mean. The crime has been so big that I don't even know what to call what's happened to me.
Which here he doesn't talk about karma. I'm beyond what you see research. I'm giving you information, and that's why I noticed I was chosen and anointed, because it matches the prerequisites. There you go. Sciogli lingua, they say in Italian, like I'm trying to, because I have a sore throat and it affects, believe it or not, my vocal cords. So, a prerequisite to be an anointed or a chosen is to be persecuted by government systems. That's it. That's all. So even Aaron Apke and the alchemist or Sadhguru are not it, because they're not persecuted. So you see how powerful I am. And I'm not talking about my personal resonance, health, and meditative level. I'm talking about that ghostly, godlike energy that makes bad
karma happen. Yeah.
Like Jesus, people look at his story like, oh my God, he died, even though he was light, but he died, and Rome is the biggest. No, they don't notice that Rome, if you see the schedule, Rome fell. And there's a thing on the Bible that says, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, you will not see it. Something like that. My dad used to say it in Italian, meaning it doesn't matter if you're a Jew or a Christian or a Catholic or a Roman. They all corroborated to putting him on the cross. Is it happening to me, Jesus de Montreal, Warlock, Superman? It is, and it's funny, but it's part of it makes me cry, because I never thought I was gonna be in this situation, and I never thought, and people are seeing it happen live on my videos, and no one lends a hand, or they pretend to. That's why now they want to give me a nice place in the suburbs. Trust me, if you don't see any more channel, that's just to avoid, because Apopex is a divine company that has done nothing wrong ever. They're the best. They care so much about me, they want to lock me up forever. And I can show you because I am so dangerous and crazy. But look, they worry. If they worry, that means I've done something wrong, right? No evidence? Too bad. They could still do it. I show you a lot of evidence of what I'm saying, but does it matter? No, because I'm just a number. I am not a number. I am a free man. That's from the movie, the series, not the movie, the Prisoner. I used to see that a bit when I was young, and there's like a big bubble at one point, almost like those bubble fighting systems. So let's see the conclusions here. I'm going to zoom it back and forth. So I hope you were patient with me and bear with me through the whole 30 minutes and more.
Exactly. I mean, it's all around us. And you know, people are going to say, there's no way you could really, there's no way you're going to be able to register low-level EMFs.
Oh my God, that's all I register.
But I think there are people that can.
Yes.
So, you know, I think that's a huge question. Is like, how much is too much as far as stuff that's around us, you know? Yeah, go ahead.
You've dealt with a lot of patients, clients.
This part is interesting.
What could you give us an example of something that really stands out, of something that really made you question one way or another what had happened to them or what they had really perceived?
I think what he's going to see now is interesting.
And if your patients talk to the dead.
I'm interrupting this recording because I'm starting to feel a bit like yesterday, weird symptoms in my immune system. and I don't hear any noise at all. Could it be they're going to gas me every day until I leave the building? Because it is a possibility. They have no scruples. That's what happened when I started my channel, when I started even saying what was happening, not filming right away the police, but I started noticing vehicles. And I'm starting to feel sick again now. So the meaning is they have no scruples. Because the police sees this. So that means it's not 100% only the police, but they've weaponized the staff from Apopex. Or like I said, I also saw undercover police here. Because they could do whatever they want. All the construction team was all around the other day just for me. You could say, come on, you're that important. Yes, I'm important. If they mobilize a whole city and you see the paperwork, how lying they are, and you see the research is the opposite of what they accuse me of being crazy, but when you have environmental sensitivity, it's the opposite. And I showed you the paper, meaning they changed their diagnosis to fit their fractured or insulted little egos. And I'm not saying little because it's little. I mean, no, it's a big ego. That's the problem. You do feel special, entitled, but you don't feel it. You feel you deserve the money, the power, the authority, the ability to hurt people, but you can't explain why. Can you explain why you have to hurt innocent people? I don't mind when someone is in conflict with you, even though, people should avoid conflict, but if there's something to gain out of hurting me, something like a territory, even like genocide, but you have nothing to gain but satisfaction or energy? What energy? You've never taken my energy now for years. When I was in fear mode, that was so long ago. I'm in stress mode, yes, because that's the physical body. But maybe my energy is so strong that even me knowing that my end is coming and knowing that I have to suffer even more than a lot more than I'm suffering, but I'm already suffering in a horrific hidden way. And it's disgusting. The biggest pain I have now is the insult to injury. That's the biggest. If anybody would ask me, what are you going through now? That's the worst, is the fact that you could be followed, tortured, and then made to on paper believe that you're imagining it. That is the same as that means they want total control over the environment, because that's what happened to Picard. If people see the Cardassians or the Kardashians, whichever one it is, either the ones with the big asses that are girls or the ones that are sort of, I don't know, green or whatever color, those alien species that were in conflict even with the other. Anyways, if you saw the Deep Space Nine, it had something, it explains the Cardassians a lot more. And it was that person that was helping that black captain. I don't know if he was a captain or of the station, Deep Space Nine. Anyways, it's not important the details, Cardassians or not, but they were telling him there was 5 lights when he actually saw 4. And at one point, when he got saved by his crew, which is only in the movies that we get saved, not only, but it happens more often in science fiction, right? So he said, I was willing to say that there was 5 lights. And that's what they want from me. They don't only want to kill me or put me in jail because it would look a little suspicious. But who cares? I think they could survive that too with their reputation. But they want to break my soul. And that they can't do. Well, yeah, they could make me say, okay, enough of the torture. And I'm already past that from 3 years ago. I say, police, whatever you want me to sign, whatever, as long as it doesn't lock me up, take away my credibility or freedom, and that you can't touch my body, not if I don't let you, meaning if I break my arm or I have an accident, that's one thing. But why would you want to continue if I tell you that's wrong and people would catch on? So this is what I mean, that they want too much. I know that I would already find a compromise, and that's why I took down my channel. It's not to show you won, it's to show you I always go for the least resistance, least conflict, because energy should be in cooperating even with parts of yourself, because society and other people that you hate or that you don't agree with are parts of yourself that you haven't made peace with. That's why soon the love will outmatch. Even Trump tries to bring peace, and people accuse him of being so bad. And I don't want to go back to Trump, what I said, that he's part of the karma against Canada, because he's picking on Canada more than anybody. If that's a coincidence, it's like the police got filmed. Again, I'm repeating, sorry, you got filmed killing someone in the same way you were rough with me, out of your imagination. There was no reason for that. Just because I was reporting that you follow me. So you follow me, you want to torment me or even torture me, and I have to smile and say thank you? I think that's asking a little bit too much of me. And maybe that's the only option you're leaving me. But then again, aren't you seeing anything in your life? And if you're not, I am technically surprised. Give it a little time. Give it a little time. Let's continue.
I think in America, I was talking with some people earlier about clinical nurse psychology, how I think it's such an important thing. When I talk to patients, and again, chances are if I'm in their room, it's something mental health is going on. But that doesn't
Mental health. See, something is going on. Just exactly what I said. When my yoga hadn't kicked in,
I gotta
when my
get
heart
checked because I
chakra,
think
let's
they're
put it this
gassing
way.
me again.
If
It's
you
a
feel your heart
possibility. I'm
chakra,
starting
it's
to
a second
worry about
awakening.
that.
People
It's
only,
everything
because it is a
until I move.
secret. I'm glad that I showed that one that got about 700 views. The Alchemist says it's the biggest secret. If you don't open your heart chakra, you could have a Kundalini awakening. You could meditate all your life, make curses, make voodoo. It will not be not even like 10% as effective as someone with the heart chakra. The amount of power and energy you feel is that you feel that you could be unlimited. And unlimited, I don't mean like theoretically or like when you dream and you dream you're flying. No, I actually feel the pulsing of, oh my God, you cannot understand what a drug it is. No wonder you don't want drugs and you don't want to fuck up your health or risk your physical body, because you say, oh my God, it is about spiritualizing the body. This is why I plead with the government, and this is why I said the kind of suffering the last 6 years is horrific. And police, you've done a good job. I'm not taking, and Apple Base, I should have technically now, if I was not branched opened with the heart center, I would have killed myself, because it's too much. It's not too much psyops. It's not too much physical torture. See, it's not like 7 or 8 on the Richter scale. No, I don't mean on the real. I mean on that thing there, triage. But it's a constant 6, 7 that never stops, because they always put something in me every day. And this is the last 4 years. When it started, it was mostly like, hey, they wanted to break me down psychologically, end up in psychiatry. They thought I was like just a gaslit person with a bit of anxiousness because of some chemical reaction. No, they didn't know my backing. And even me, I didn't know the statistical evidence that I could cause shit even before I was aware of this, of what I just told you about the heart center, and that it was a secret. But it's simple. If people look at it's all around us. The pictures of Jesus, I don't know who created those. I thought it was just flamboyant religious nonsense, because most religious stuff is nonsense. That's why the truth is in the detail. Why do you think you see the thing on top of his head, the halo or whatever, that circle like the crown of the king, and nobody even chest plates and armor, but the idea that they put so many thorns around the heart, that's the part that he suffered, but also the glow of the heart is because that's the biggest gateway, it's the biggest connection to everything. And it's also physically, electromagnetically, 5,000 times stronger than the brain, the electromagnetism, and 5,000 times more electrical than the brain. So your heart works more than your brain, or it's more important. But your brain decides, technically, we think, but because we don't know what decides, every cell of your body is part of you. The programming that it's all in the brain and it happens in the brain is partially true, but it's only on 3D. That's why you have phantom limbs. People think phantom limbs are a thing of the brain. No, that's the body. That's why if you have your arm, you have it. If you don't, you still have it, because it's the field around the hand, the arm.
We all experience depression, anxiety to some degree. You might just need referrals.
See, he's talking about the anxiousness.
But there's a number of experiences out there. I can't really pick out one. I think the more I talk to people about their experiences, the less I came out of this closed-minded, skeptical idea that, well, if he's seeing things, then it's got to be psychosis or hallucination. The more I talk to people, the more
This is what I
understood what they were talking, the more I recognize that these people are really stable people.
Oh my God! I'm just trying to joke around. If you see my papers now, they say.
See, that's the whole point. What I'm trying to say here is that everything is weaponized. They change the diagnosis of researchers into diseases. They switch the disease around to their liking. Just like if people think it's normal for the police to just stop a car and search it, come in your apartment, take your mail, but it's part of the law. So you cannot say I'm crazy about that, police, can you? So if the law itself is a crime, how can you say I'm crazy and what I'm saying doesn't count? And they don't have a setup for me at the new HLM area. And even if now they would take me, because the HLM might just want to take their paws out of this, because I know some of the agents said, but it's not our job to help you. I go, but what is it to do? Just fund the money to the big companies that just siphon the money more in a safe way? Because the only thing that's better for landlords that do support that HLM system is that they're more guaranteed. People can't skim out because the HLM has to pay even if the person leaves, and then they obviously track them down, especially nowadays. In the past, you could escape payments or run in the wild. Not even 10 years ago or 20 years ago, you could escape in the wild. But now it's even more impossible, and you won't even last a couple of weeks. Just like people, they say they don't have it's a fire hazard, these camps. Hey, these people are trying to survive from the cold. They don't look at the logic that they're trying to survive the cold and eat, not just complain or go against their laws. And the fact that TV talks stupid like that, and they stupidly tell you they send billions of dollars to war, and they don't even put 1 billion. I'm not talking about 200 million or 200,000 what they put in housing. I'm talking about they should put 2 or 3 billion and less for war. That would make me think that they're trying to make it worth living in Canada as opposed to a war-torn country. If there's not that much difference, and you torture and follow and scheme and weaponize laws to punish any dissident that they don't like your decisions and they don't like your status, that you control them, then you further punish them. So what does that say? That you're admitting we need an effing revolution. And I don't mean just a theoretical one, a physical one. Because if this continues, definitely, I think if the police is allowed entering your apartment without a permit, without a big valid reason, then it's time for a revolution. This is my opinion. I wouldn't recommend it. But I think if I were materialistic, that's the only solution. How can you stop the police or the government unless you go on the street, millions of people? Because when we say enough is enough, you can't just follow and torture people at your whim. We're not living in the Gestapo, or at least say it. You know, the only time I would say maybe we shouldn't revolt or rebel in some kind of extreme way is if they would admit that they're a criminal state. The satisfaction of me, the police and Apopec saying, yeah, we're actually horrible people and we like torturing you out of our ass. If they would say that, of course, everybody watching this channel knows this. And the fact that I'm speaking like, oh, I got offended by the way he spoke. Imagine how offended I feel when I'm tortured and followed every day, police. This is what I want to say. How can I express being tortured? And now I think it's, again, the chemical in the apartment getting increased. Maybe it's just a memory from yesterday, but they attack me and they provoke me because they know if they put something that raises my heart rate and blood pressure, that I'll say things more expressively and extreme. Even though they're honest, like I don't believe actually we should have a revolution, but it's getting close to there. But I think that they're going to mellow down. Once the energy is going to be strong in 2030 to 2032, that's going to be really extremely noticeable. Then there's not going to be need for us to say, well, if the laws get extreme, then we got to rebel or draw the line in the sand. That's what I meant. No, I don't say, people go out in the street, don't work. But it's getting there. Even though now we don't have to do something physically rebellious, we do actually physically contest, denounce, make videos like this, talk to your member of parliament, talk to any superior director that could make petitions, signatures. We don't want Bill C2, we don't want Bill C8, we don't want Bill C9. 99% of it is garbage. It's criminal. You can't decide in the future what someone's going to do just because you could stamp it. And can you do that to police and government? No. If these laws could be used against people in status and companies and governments and policing, then they would be still a little reasonable. But until, from what I see now, they're just to control and punish weak and sick people. Poor, weak, and sick people. And old people, in my case, add that one. And they're targeting me. Of course, it's an easy fight, police physically. Try doing that to the Hamas or to Hezbollah or even to Ibrahim Traore's army. Try it. I don't think you want to, even though he's much weaker than the big armies in Russia. But the idea is that people are saying, we're getting fed up. He's showing by example. He's taking a salary. That guy is honest. I see it in his face. I don't care about the details if he had to do bad things to get in power. He goes, I didn't overthrow the dictator before me to become another dictator. So whether he's black or Chinese or purple or alien species, if somebody is working from their heart center and being fair and honest, I see what's honest. Because after 40 and more years of meditating, if I cannot see what's truthful and what's honest and what's good, then I wouldn't promote spirituality. So good vibes. I'm sorry for losing it there a bit. And again, it's not that I want to put a disclaimer. I never meant that people should do any type of exaggerated, violent demonstration. But being rebellious to the extreme of the law And if the laws are extreme to not give us the right, it's like yesterday, I couldn't film in the library, but the person is walking too close to me. I told them, get out of my way, just like I told. But they are saying that it's the law. So when it's things like that, we should be on the streets. We don't want security up our ass. We don't want police to follow you. It doesn't matter if you invent something. If you don't have any proof, any verbal or physical action that broke someone else's freedom, you have no rights to spy or follow on us. Doesn't matter if you declare it on TV that you spy. And in my case, add that flavor of torture. You are not allowed under spiritual law, which is the law that came before even man could crawl out of 4 legs or stop crawling and walking on two feet. So this is what I'm trying to say. People have to decide, do we accept this? And this is the court Zoom system that I did. This is what I'm going to call it, Zoom court. I am declaring that they have done crimes and they should admit it. It doesn't matter. The money is not, it does matter. But I don't think they should continue. The minimum I'm asking, that they should not continue these crimes. And I'm just hoping I survive. My ego side, police, even though even in my ego, I cannot hate or wish harm on anybody, but I could wish God to come in and do something. Just like when you watch a movie, you want the hero to win. So this is what I'm not the hero. I am sort of the hero, but I don't want to be. I'm sort of the persecuted. I'm a martyr, but it's not that I want to be. See, I'm a many things. But I just want to see the changes. I've worked hard enough to want to see the changes in my health and in the planet for the better, because it's going too corrupt. It's too lies. It's not only the harm they do, it's the lies behind it are so big, and you see it in their faces. Yesterday, I was talking to a manager that I think is a new manager at the Côte des Neiges library. And see, I'm not saying any details. I promised I wouldn't. I'm not showing any videos, of which I erased all of them. But what I did promise, I will speak truth all the time. And I saw that person was an agent or something. And the eye contact, oh my God. I spoke with that lady manager at the Côte des Neiges, and I saw that she had quite a strong energy. Obviously, it doesn't compare to mine, and I compulsed her to, and I saw that when she overstepped and she gave a little signal to the security guard and he wanted to see my video, and she told him no, because they don't like it that I make these videos. Police, that's why you want to punish me further. But then if you don't like it, there's another option. Stop doing the crime. Say no to drugs. You preach things, but you don't follow what you preach. I correct myself when I was a little rude and arrogant and daring a few years ago. How many times have I apologized? As many times as I've warned you, you're going to get the karma. You haven't seen it yet because you don't want to see it. You're putting your head in the sand like the emus or the storks that got shot.
I'm just trying to joke around. If you see my papers now, they don't. How come now I'm so crazy? Could it be because you don't like me saying your crimes?
Yeah, they changed the papers.
I wonder.
It's going to stop differently. They edit it. He's talking about he doesn't think it's the geographical area that makes the apparitions.
I would say I don't think it necessarily matters what the teaching is.
I think he's wrong, though. See, the research I did is that people say that there's areas that have more, they register it with things that there's more. So in that way, maybe he went, but he's trying to say when it's regarding to his research with people that are sensitive, you create your own wormhole. Your heart chakra, your chakras are dimensional portals. That's another way of looking at it. So in a way he's right and in a way he's wrong. If it comes to laws and experiences and documentation on 3D, he's totally wrong. And if it comes to meditation and having our access to other dimensions, then he's totally right. So he's wrong and right both at the same time, just like Schrodinger's cat.
All of us here, we're all electrical beings.
Yeah, that's true. So far as so good.
Magnetic fields, electric magnetic fields, our bodies generate these things. So every paranormal experience that has happened since the dawn of time has involved EMFs or electricity because a person was there. So I don't really know if it has to do so much with location.
See, he doesn't really know. I like that part. He's honest. He's a good guy. He's a very good doctor or researcher.
That's how I would answer that question. But if you put me in a hotel room, like the Stanley Hotel room, and shut all the lights off, I'd probably say it was the most haunted place in the world. I'd freak out. I think there's something to Wiseman's contextual variables causing more people to report symptoms and places that were more haunted. We got time for one more. One more? Okay.
Okay, there's no diagnosis for like a hypersensitive person
hypersensitive environmental sensitivity or whatever. There's no like diagnosis for that, right? There is. Like medical diagnosis you're talking about? Well, yeah, but even if it's not medical, a diagnosis, like, do we know the set of symptoms?
Well, I'm going to edit here because here at the end he says it earlier. I don't know when he says it, but I don't know if they cut this video because before I think it was longer. It was over an hour. He says at one point they put electrodes on someone's brain and they just stab him. He said something with an application, like with a tool, like a pencil. And that people with sensitivity had spikes that were like more than 50 times or like a lot more times than a regular person. Same thing with being sensitive. Smells, we have a more refined frequency range. And more reactionary too, that we get sick faster. But again, when you meditate, that is to your advantage, because when you're meditating, you got to be sensitive to the other dimensions, other frequencies. It's not the same thing. Resonance, frequency, and dimensions interrelate, but they're not the same thing. This is not the video to research that, and my throat is hurting. I'm signing off. I hope this has been a good court case. Good vibes, love and compassion and equality. Spread that. Good vibes, like, subscribe, share. Hopefully I'll still be around, even next month. But next month, I'm not so sure. But for now, this is the court case.